Hi guys, thanks again for joining us and listening in to our monthly market update. Um,
Hi guys.
yeah, it's January of 2021 now,
Woo!
and we're all hoping that we can just put 2020 behind us. And,
I think it's talking to the market. Then a lot of people feel better about. I mean, the new year does bring that positivity, the natural stuff that comes with it. But
yeah,
I think the uncertainty of what we had behind us, we all know what's to come,
right,
and we can manage this a little bit better. So
yeah.
I feel good about 2021. How do you feel?
Yeah, no, I think the same thing. I think there's definitely a little different energy than there was, say, 8 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that uncertainty does
Yeah.
bring on some additional questions.
Yeah,
So.
but I think I mean, the stats that I've been pulling haven't been very positive, and everybody's aware of that, Central Alberta's market has really been taking a beating.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, if you look at 2020 as a whole compared to 2019, it actually turned out to be not that bad.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I will. I'll get into it here. So, like Red Deer, total sales for detached homes, and again, I want to explain to everybody that I use the MLS data system to pull the stats. I don't take it from a third party, and I'm using a detached home so that I kind of have that nice baseline. I'm not getting half duplexes, townhouses, or condos in there for our stats.
Yeah.
So total sales, I mean, 915 in Red Deer this year versus 911 last year. Like, there's no.
Wow.
Yeah, you can't really say that it was that bad. It's pretty good, right? A few more extra sales in there, and then average price very similar, 351,000 versus 347,000 last year,
Wow.
or I guess 2019. We're in 2021 now. So close again. So Red Deer, for how much garbage was going on and stuff, it actually did all right.
Well, I think that shows the stability in the market and the confidence of Central Albertans, that they understand where things are going for the next year or the last year, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I mean, that stability gives that consumer confidence to proceed.
Yeah. Listing count, the big thing there, I guess it is down a lot this year compared to last year.
Yeah.
And maybe that's helped with those sales then, and just that, there's a bit less to look at than there was, 2 years ago or even last year, right? Or 2019. So,
can I ask you a question? Does that help create a more balanced market?
As much as I will talk about that, and I'll actually explain that right now, just using Red Deer as an example. So your original list price to close price, so being your original list price versus your sale price.
Yeah.
In a good balanced market, no more than, probably 2.5% off of the asking price, basically.
Sure.
Right? 2% is kind of we're in a good balanced market. On something like a $400,000 house, that's $8,000.
Yeah.
That means I listed it at $399,900 and I sold for $392 or $390.
Okay.
Right? That's a balanced market.
Yeah.
We're still in that 4 to 4.5%.
Okay.
Versus the 2% that we're looking for. So, or the other way to look at it is we're at about 96% of our asking price, versus where we'd like to be at 98% of our asking price. And so no, we're not in a, and compared to the years before, it's even, I mean, Red Deer, out of all the markets in Central Alberta, definitely has the strongest market, and it's that's where everybody's kind of commuting from. So they're selling in Sylvan Lake or Blackfalds and they're moving into Red Deer.
Okay.
So I think when you look at the stats that Red Deer has versus Blackfalds, Sylvan Lake, Red Deer has a stronger looking market.
For sure.
Right? And that closed or list price to close price average, that ratio is better in Red Deer than it is in Sylvan or in Blackfalds or Lacombe and such. So.
And I think that's common of most rural areas around Canada even.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would think that you're going to get a stronger market in the
major central
area. So yeah, just kind of running off that. Sylvan Lake, same thing. Sylvan Lake sales were up a little bit again too. 222 sales versus 193.
Oh wow, that's
So,
actually significant.
Yeah, like about a 13% increase there. Again, single family homes, so not half duplex, not townhouse, not that type of stuff. And with Sylvan Lake, I only pull the town stats, so that's not including, the summer villages and that
Okay.
sort of thing. So, which can skew it some more there. So, average sale price, it's fairly similar to 347,000 this year versus 340 last year. So that there is 2%. That's that 2%, up 2%. But when you still look at the original list price versus your sale price, it's in about that 6% margin, and that's still that's my telltale that says that we're still not in a stable market. And anybody going, oh well, my house maybe went up 2% this year. Really, I think that's because of the 13% increase in sales.
Yeah.
There'd be a little bit more value in that 13% then, so that's increased our average sale price just by a little bit. Because yeah, like I said, that 6% or even 5% on our list price versus sale price, that's you got to think that's probably 15,000 off for some homes, or even more. And one of the things that I know I'm rambling a little bit, but one of the problems that we have is that if a house got listed and then came off the market, as long as it came off the market for longer than 10 days, and then gets listed again, the days on market, the whole listing becomes reset.
Yeah.
And so I can't take that original list price from the first time and apply it to its sale price, so that gap would even be a little bit bigger. Or most likely be a little bit bigger. You would think if it came off the market and then went back on, it probably dropped its price, lowered its price again to compete with what's going on, right? So, yeah, same thing. Blackfalds a little tighter with their sales, like a little closer, 149 versus 146 from the year before, 2019. So they were a little closer, and their average sale price. Sounds a little bigger, but it's really not either. 339 versus 326,000 from the year before. So up about 4%. The listing count, very, very similar year over year, 65 versus 66. So they really didn't lose the inventory that, say, Red Deer and even Sylvan Lake sort of seen.
I think the theme that you're talking about is stability.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what we like to see as ourselves as consumers, right?
Yeah.
We want to feel that confidence of stability, that moving along. Sure, if it's a little bit of a up and down 1 or 2, 3, 4%, that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
When the market sees this or this, then everybody scrambles.
Agreed.
So that stability in there is good to see.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same. Like again, I can talk. Lacombe sort of has similar numbers, up in their sales. Their average sale price, interestingly enough, was down a little bit compared to everywhere else. It's been up, that maybe 10 grand. They went down about 10 grand. So, and I'm not sure why, because they were up sales wise.
I've always found that Lacombe is a little bit outside the bedroom communities of. I mean, even though the distance is the same as Sylvan Lake to Lacombe from Red Deer, I've always kind of felt like Lacombe's its own little identity.
Well, and it definitely has more of a farming community to it.
Yeah.
So there's certainly maybe that, whereas Sylvan Lake might have a little bit more of a bedroom community to Red Deer.
Sure.
The lake kind of attracts people to come and be there but work in Red Deer. So, and I think Lacombe maybe doesn't get that same attraction.
Sure. So
the buyers that are there are more long term or I don't know, but yeah, I agree with you though. It does sort of have its own little entity, you know. Yeah. So yeah, same thing. I mean, nothing really. It compares to everything else. 94.9% close price versus list price. So very in that 5% range. Again, I did want to talk quickly about acreages. Acreages, because I don't talk about them normally in our conversation. So I just want to kind of get a breakdown for the year. This is 1+ acre in Red Deer County. I used. The total sales, there was 97 versus the 76 the year before.
Oh, that's significant.
So it definitely went up, but interestingly enough, the closing price, the average sale price, dropped by 10%. So last year, the average sale price was $576,000. This year, the average sale price is $518,000.
Wow, sounds like there's opportunity to get into some acreage.
And that's what I was going to talk about, is the opportunity for acreage buying in the last 2-3 years has been substantial. I've really seen that. You know, in 2014, Jean-Guy, you could not find an acreage in Red Deer County for probably under $500,000.
Yeah.
And even at $500,000 5 years ago, it needed work. Like you probably needed another 15 to 30 grand.
I remember that. I mean, I have seen the significant increase in acreage sales last year as well for 2020.
Yeah.
People want to get out of town, and
Yeah.
people are, and they're moving from all over. Like
Yeah.
I've had a lot of, I couldn't tell you the numbers, but I do know that there's been a significant increase in acreage activities.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And which
And there's deals out there. You can feel
well, that's
that
what I
the
mean.
prices
That's
are
kind of why I think it's attractive right now.
Yeah.
The buyers that can afford it are going. I remember that house. You know, in 2014, it sold for $700. I'm buying it for $590.
Exactly.
You know, and that's significant to a lot of people. It's impressive, and it kind of says to them, well, hopefully, if the market ever does turn, cross our fingers, then maybe they can actually build some equity back.
Yes.
Right? You know, so yeah, exactly. When Lacombe County, not quite as extreme, but definitely sales-wise, 50% more this year versus last year. So it went
50% more.
Yeah, 49 deal transactions in 2020 versus 25 transactions the year before.
Huh.
So that's an interesting. That's how much more sales happen. Our closing price, average sale price, was 510 this year versus 2019 was 502. So it went the way it probably should have gone. It was a little bit up. But yeah, I mean, original list price to sale price, same sort of thing like we've been talking about, that 5% gap. So if you were listed at 500,
Yeah.
you know, you sold for 25 grand less,
Yeah.
kind of thing, right? So
Yeah. I did see bigger spreads on the offers on a field, but I mean, that comes with the values.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That's good.
what's happening on the mortgage side of things? Where are we at?
Well, I think the theme again, just for today's conversation, is the last few weeks into December is not a whole lot that goes on. There's a few sales that occur, obviously, and people are jumping in quickly.
Yeah.
But as far as exciting mortgage news, I think the excitement of that is that it's stable.
Right.
So, in the middle of November, we did see rates adjust. The rate indicator, I'll say, and that's called the bond. One of them is the bond rate.
Yeah.
So when the vaccine was announced that it was one that was available that's going to work, the bond rate jumped up 10 basis points. And the economists were talking about, well, with this rollout, we'll see rates increasing quicker than normal. But we haven't seen much movement in 60 days.
Right.
Part of that might have to do with the political upheaval in the States,
Yeah.
but that should subside in the next couple of weeks. And as far as determining when the rates are going to go from an average of, if you're buying with insured mortgage, you can be as low as like 1.6%. I'd say 1.6 to 1.8%, depending on what you're doing, where you qualify, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're going to move up until for 6 to 8, 9 months, depending on the rollout of the vaccine and when there's more availability for it in the greater North American market, right?
Which might trend with kind of employment rate, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, good news about the vaccine means bad news for their mortgages, but there's more confidence in the market, so the market will be able to absorb it easily.
Yeah.
So right now there's a really good opportunity to buy, because even if houses are stable priced, interest rates are low, and they're not going to be low forever.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a 6 to 9 month opportunity, I feel,
Yeah.
at these low, super low interest rates.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good
And that
opportunity.
downward pressure, I think, is going to continue. I still think, you know, for every 3 houses out there that are for sale, one of them is not in a good situation where they are very much pressured to get out of it and sell, and that's still causing, I think, the prices to, you know, the buyer gets to take advantage of that, right?
For sure. And we haven't, we're right in the middle of when we're supposed to hear about, or people being, or the deferrals, or the foreclosures coming up.
You're right, yeah.
If there's going to be one.
Right.
I know lenders have been working very diligently. Lenders and the mortgage insurers have been working very diligently with the consumers to try and keep them in.
Yeah.
And avoid
Yeah.
the foreclosures.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be inevitable. And unfortunately, we're gonna begin hearing about them between now and the next 30 to 45 days.
Yeah, and that's
And
what,
we'll have a better idea what that's gonna look like, which will help
yeah,
you have an indication of where prices are going.
exactly, and that's what CMHC was kind of chattering about
Yep.
in the fall of 2019, or 2020, that they're gonna start to see that increase in foreclosures probably start to happen in the spring, so that makes, that, you know, that kind of,
CMHC has had a different viewpoint than the other mortgage insurers, and a lot of banks have disagreed with CMHC's pricing as
right,
well.
okay,
So CMHC did say that, but the rebuttals against what CMHC said was that housing prices were supposed to drop 20%,
yeah,
and they haven't.
and they haven't, right,
And that was supposed to occur by right now.
yeah, yeah, true.
So we haven't seen what CMHC's predicted, so I take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Hopefully, what they said doesn't come true, because, yeah, that makes opportunity for buyers to get in, but we don't want to see the other side of the societal issues that come with it.
Exactly. Well, right on. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Please feel free to comment, ask questions, so that we can maybe start a little bit of a question and Q&A thing at the end of our video, and yeah, go from there. I'm looking forward to 2021. I don't know about you. But,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
you
looking
know,
forward to the year.
yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying this, and yeah, feel free to comment, send us anything, any questions, even just a like would be great, just to let us know that you're enjoying it, or if you wanted to have some more information, one of us provide a little bit different information, feel free to say that as well. So
Absolutely.
thanks again for listening, take care.
Have a great day, guys.